Hello. I'm Fadelessword, also known as Fade or Fadeless. And this should be episode, I think, 11 of Fade Yaps. I can never keep track of the numbers. Welcome in. Thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciate all the support the last one got. I didn't expect it, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This one's probably not going to be very long. I feel like this one will probably be one of the shorter ones. In the background should be League of Legends. I am recording this separately from the gameplay for once. Mostly because I was playing with friends when I was playing League of Legends, and I didn't want to talk. Like, I wanted to be in a voice call with them and not just, like, talk to myself about something random while trying to play League of Legends. So that's why this is separately done. But today's topic is gonna be about my current favorite archetype of character in like media and stories. At least the characters I gravitate towards the most right now. It's we're gonna be talking about the strongest archetype. So characters like Gojo and some others like that. Are not exactly like them, but like what I like in like the strongest and why I like really like that archetype pretty much. So pretty much I like really got into the idea of like the strongest archetype when it came to I think a year ago when I watched JJK. Seeing Gojo and like the way they portrayed Gojo was like this is such a cool archetype. It's specifically because with the strongest archetype, it's just like a ton of responsibility placed on a character. Most of the time, like the fate of the world or like everyone's expectations or something, right? And then seeing that just placed on a character and how like they handle it or respond to it, whether it like breaks them or they hold on to like the title of the strongest and like it builds them up or isolates them. I think seeing characters in that aspect where you can see them like isolated from everyone because they have that power is such a cool part of like the strongest archetype that like you don't really see. I feel like I don't know. I think it's new for me because it's like dang, you're strong, but like it isolates you from others, which like makes sense because they're not like your level anymore, right? It's a very cool archetype because some characters embrace like that idea of they're the strongest, so they need to stand alone versus other characters who like can kind of accept they're the strongest, but still like let other people in and help and like still get help, you know? I felt like it's a really cool archetype. And like to be honest, the reason I wanted to talk about it was because in my novel I'm currently working on, I've also been trying to grapple with and write a strongest archetype character as well. Is like I don't know how to I get like the rough ideas of how to go about it, but it's definitely very interesting to analyze and dissect like how I'm going to handle this character, what I'm going to do with them, how are they going to hold their own mindset that's unique to them being the strongest. So that's interesting, I think always. It's really interesting to me with the strongest archetype whenever like characters try to reach out to them, whether through like battle or like through words, and like seeing how they respond to them. Because some can be very cold because they've just kind of lived that way the entire time. And it's like they're just used to that and they're used to being alone and strong that way. Versus characters that are like more so lets other characters in or like shares with them some problems and stuff. Also, there's a certain ego that comes with being the strongest that characters have as well. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's lesser. But when you see like that ego, it's kind of cool to see that ego, I'm gonna be honest. But when you see like a character that is like the strongest, not like when you see that ego break down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. When you see that ego break down, it feels like such rewarding character development to see from like that aspect of a character, you know? Um, I don't know. There's this other character I really like, Arthur Lewin from The Beginning After the End. He's technically not. It's interesting with him, because in a way he is that archetype, but it's more so through our vision that he's that archetype. So while he does like grow into that archetype, it's interesting to see his journey, because he doesn't start. This is another cool thing about the strongest archetype, is characters that don't start as the strongest, but develop into it and their journey. Because someone like Gojo, who starts, like, not exactly the strongest, but, like, pretty early on becomes the strongest in terms of, like, the story. You get to, like, see, like, the perspective he's built over, like, on his own through years of that, right? This, like, mindset he's built completely on his own that's, like, locked in, and that's Gojo, right? You know that's Gojo. But someone like, let's say, I'm using Gojo as an example because he got the most screen time on there. I'm not debating it, but anyways, but like someone like Arthur, let's say, you get to see him start from like not the strongest, but build into it, and then strongest of like different arcs, and then kind of falls off a little, and then kind of comes back over time. And then seeing like how he has this like reliance of doing stuff on his own, like a lot of the strongest characters. But when that like idea of him being the strongest falls apart, how he has to like start relying on others, but not completely either, because he still pushes himself to be alone. It's a good like mixture of mindsets that is very interesting to see, like the development of like fighting those two mindsets pretty much. The strongest archetype is so cool to me, honestly. And not just because they're powerful. I think I really like it for their mindset and like state of mind that they have. Because some are so mentally resilient. Some are like the strongest, like mentally as well. And some aren't that either. Some people, like, some of the characters just aren't the strongest in like their mental space as well. As much as like their strength is. Which leads them to like making mistakes and issues that like build over time, where like all collapses in on one, and it's like, whoa, that's really cool to see. And seeing how that character, who's like always in a position of I am the strongest, kind of like reacts and adjusts to those changes in like, how do you put it? In like their mindset pretty much. Because not all of them like respond positively to that change, right? There's so many characters that like don't respond positively to failure or messing up because they are at that peak. And that's so human, you know? When you think you're like the best at something, or you think you're like really good at something, and you mess up at like that thing like once or twice, it shakes your confidence in it so much. I think I'd say, because like for example, I used to be like really good at this one game, and then I went to a tournament for it. Like I literally had just I had to throw games to lose to my friends, so I was the best of my friend group, right? I pretty much went to a tournament and got like immediately destroyed. It wasn't close. I couldn't do anything. And that like idea of failure like kind of sucked, you know? Like it kind of shook my confidence a lot. And I knew I wasn't the best because I've at least like watched other tournaments and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely not the best," right? Now imagine being at the top of something, the very peak, and then failing or messing up or even losing, right? That I feel can shake the confidence of a person or a character so much. Because it's so human for that to happen, right? It's so like normal that you just think you're gonna win, or you think you're just gonna be the best or something, and then it messes up, and that like mistake gets in your head, and then it's always at like not maybe forefront of it'll start at the forefront of your mind, right? But then it'll stick in the back of your mind. It'll stay there, and you'll keep like recalling it, and every pressure situation it'll pop up again, and you have to question yourself, hey, this mistake or mess up I did, is this something that's going to be constant now? And then when you're able to fight through that, or when a character is able to fight through that and overcome like that gnawing in the back of your mind, it's so refreshing and freeing. And it's like this whole new state of being, that's not exactly it. It's this whole new, like, it's breaking past a limit you've set for yourself, essentially, or you've ended up making for yourself. It's being able to, like, just push past, like, the idea of, like, what you knew and, like, the struggles and adversity and overcome it. And through, like, that struggle and adversity and, again, overcoming it, you, like, gain a whole new perspective and insight and, like, just get, like, better at something from it. And that applies to, like, the strongest characters as well. This is kind of a side tangent. This kind of was a little bit of a side tangent. But, like, what strong characters or, like, the strongest develop, maybe if they weren't the strongest at the time, right? But then they go through, like, that adversity or failure and then develop into it based from their, like, trials and tribulations. It's cinema. It's cinema that they did that, you know? It is so, it's just genuinely a cool archetype that I feel like authors can do so much with, you know? Sometimes it can definitely be like a hindrance to your story, like, oh, well, if they're there, they remove the tension, right? Like, I absolutely get that. But it's something with, like, I don't know, if you handle it well, or if you can, like, make it so that that tension still exists, it can be insanely good. That tension that you can, like, still make with the strongest character around, if you can manage to write a way to have tension with your strongest character around, it's so good. It's genuinely so good. Sorry, my voice kind of sucks. I feel like I'm kind of losing it. I'm coughing a little bit, but you know, it's that season. It's the season where everyone gets sick. But yeah, I think that's really cool about the strongest. When the strongest overcomes adversity, even if they're the strongest, right? They might be this insane power, right? When they have to overcome adversity, I feel like the trial and tribulation, whether if they fail or succeed, is so, like, rewarding to see, in my opinion. And yeah, that is currently why I am obsessed with the strongest archetype. It helps that the characters I obsess over in the strongest archetype also are very good looking, but yeah, that's why I like the strongest archetype at the moment, and why I really like it at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of it for me, honestly. This was a shorter episode, but I hope that's not too bad. If you did enjoy this, feel free to give it a like, a comment, subscribe. I appreciate every comment I get, and I love responding to them. So don't be too shy about commenting if you'd like to. No pressure, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you'll get a video of Fade Yaps next week as well. I mean, you should be. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. I will hopefully one of these will be longer again, surely. But until then, I do appreciate everyone sticking around and watching. It's pretty fun to make these, to be honest. I just kind of like making these, and I can, like, always go back to a topic and be like, I said this time. Did my perspective change? So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble and babble about the things I like. And yeah, I'll catch you next week in next week's episode or during a stream. But yeah, take care, everyone. Goodbye. I'll see you later.